Hey, Joe Martin here. You've seen our commercials over the years, and you may be wondering, what's in it for me? Well, ITI Technical College has been selected by Forbes magazine as a top 32-year college. But even more than that, the reason we do this is you. Our tagline is, for a better life, and we mean that, for you to be able to have the life you've always dreamed about, to do the things for your family you've always dreamed about. And it can begin here, where we are dedicated to your success, because here at ITI,
This is Sports 225 with Lee Feinswag, and I'm Lee Feinswag. We're in our 24th year, if you count Sports Monday and Sports 225, and the only way that could happen is, well, it's my show.
My best friend, Lee Feinswag, look at the Christmas.
Sports 225 is brought to you by Breck. And now, me. Well, I can tell you from my own experience, and Scott Rabalais, I'm sure, hears it a lot more than me, and people say, oh man, do you need an assistant? Can you pack me in your luggage? And for most of the time, that's probably true. But the erstwhile Advocate columnist doesn't always have days like that. And one of the reasons why I not only wanted him, but insisted to him that he come on this week is because he not only covered the Masters and was there for the dramatic Tiger Woods win, easy for me to say, then, on his drive back to Atlanta, found out that LSU had reinstated Will Wade. And I texted my good friend and said, I know you're going to be tired, but you have no choice. You're coming on Sports 225 this week. Because you just had to. And what a day. So that was one of those days,
performance.
yes, where people, say to you, oh, I wish I could have been there with you, which would have been great for the first, 16 hours.
That's right.
What was Sunday like for you?
Well, it was turning out really well because they had to move the tee times up on Sunday and play off 1 and 10 tees because they were afraid there was going to be some really bad weather coming in.
Now, what time Saturday did they tell you all that?
It was during the day, during the round, sometime in the afternoon. So there's a lot of lead time for that. So they got done. They got done about 1:30. 2 o'clock Eastern time. There's still daylight when I left Augusta, and I always drive back to Atlanta. So I'm thinking,
except the days when you don't win the lottery to get to play on.
Well, I've still never won the lottery, and
you've never gotten to play in the media round.
No, and I've
I've
never entered this. I didn't enter this year either. I've been traveling so much.
Yeah.
He said I was just kind of ready to come home, and I got another trip with NCAA gymnastics.
Right. I know.
This weekend in Fort Worth. So I'm feeling pretty good. And Perrin Keys, our sports editor, calls me and says, Will Wade just got reinstated. Whip off the road in the parking lot of a McDonald's, and I'm just typing away in my car and send a column. Not the worst place I've written. Can you name the craziest place you've written from, other than maybe your bathroom?
The craziest story for sending was, back in the day we used to have those
right.
Radio Shack computers where you had to plug them into a phone line.
Yeah.
If you didn't have a phone line, you couldn't send it. It was the little click module.
Right.
And I was at the SWAC baseball tournament in Alexandria, and I don't remember the circumstances, but the only thing left to do was I looked over and saw the state trooper's office, and I pulled in, and I came running in with the computer, and the officer looked at me. I said, look, I'm a sports writer. I know you're going to think this is weird. Please don't shoot me. I got to send this story. I said, can I use that phone? And he just looked at me and went, luckily I didn't see his hand go for his gun, right? And so I unhooked their phone, put it in the computer, dialed the 800 number that we cooked back to the Advocate. We used to have an 800 in-state only line.
Yeah.
And sent the story. And as you hear it going, and doing all the noise, I said, okay, I'll explain now. He goes, you're lucky I didn't shoot you. And I remember another time sending from a gas station down in Labdieville on a way back from a Nichols State game. But as far as actually writing stories in weird places, probably not too many gas station parking lots or McDonald's parking lots.
Lots of restaurants, cars, planes, trains. I've written on the wrote on a train coming back from Southampton, England, back to London when the Saints played 2 years ago. Went to see the Saints, the soccer teams, the Saints. But the kind of weirdest one was, of course, the media building at the press building. They call it the press building, not the media building. At Augusta National is this palatial, $56 million, probably 50,000 square foot, huge thing. It looks like Tara from Gone with the Wind.
Right.
And not to put down the people at the La Triomphe at the Chittimacha, Louisiana Open in Lafayette, because they're wonderful people and they support the tournament. But I've only been there once, and I go to their media workroom, and I go and I was like, this is a shipping container. It was one of those ocean-going shipping containers with a door and windows cut in it. I said, yeah, this is it.
Yeah.
So I worked him inside a shipping container. I think that's a good one.
You know, he's here because I want to talk to him about the Masters and Tiger Woods and then LSU basketball. Mm-hmm. But, you know, FIVB World Beach Championships, volleyball in Vienna. Mm-hmm. It's on an island in the Danube, and they use a cruise ship that doubles as a school during the school year as the media and FIVB headquarters.
That's cool.
So you actually walk from the island, take the gangplank, and go on a cruise ship.
That's
and
cool.
They set up a big room for a meeting. Now that was different.
Yeah.
Yeah. So where do you stay when you go to Augusta? You must have the same place that you try to go to.
I've stayed at the good graces. Some people, you know, it's a big corporate event for a lot of people. So this company that my brother Jeff works with, my brother Jeff's a claims adjuster, insurance claims adjuster in Baton Rouge. This company he works with, and they get a house to schmooze some of their clients. The best way I can describe this company is called Rimkus. I don't think they would mind me saying. They do forensic engineering, like they do accident reenactments and fire propagation analysis, anyway, all that kind of stuff. And they and some lawyers, these a couple of law firms, they share the cost of this house. It is 2 blocks from Magnolia Lane. It's across Washington Road.
So you literally can walk.
I could, but I don't.
Oh, you don't. You take the rental.
I take the rental car, yeah, and so it's. I sleep. My spot is in the living room under the air mattress, on an air mattress under a piano, which I cracked my foot on the other day. Unfortunately, the only place I would sleep on an air mattress to cover is for the Masters.
Well, you've always told me it's your single favorite event of the year. All right, so as you know, Tiger Woods won, and I want to talk to Scott about that monumental event. And then in terms of shake your head and say, wow, Will Wade returning as the basketball coach at LSU. So those two things, and that's why Scott's here. You can read him at theadvocate.com. You can follow him at Rabalais ADV on Twitter. I'm Lee Feinswag, and when we get back, we'll talk a little Tiger on, not Tigers, on Sports 225.
Hi, I'm the human dislike button. You may recognize me as the guy who enforces rules at Breck Parks. Check out my amazing presentation. Did you know? Motorized vehicles are not allowed in Breck Parks. Sales and solicitation are prohibited without permission from Breck. And my favorite rule, keep Breck Parks clean by placing all trash in trash cans. Come on, you can do this. For more information about these and other Breck rules, please visit breck.org/HDB.
Back on Sports 225, Scott Rabalais is here. This past weekend, he was in Augusta, Georgia for the Masters, where Tiger Woods won. And I just can imagine that was really something. It was a really fun golf tournament to watch. And I actually watch more of it than I normally do, big golf fan that I am. And, you know, I don't care one way or the other about Tiger Woods. I hope that he's a better person for everything that he went through. Who knows? But it was compelling athletics.
Definitely. I mean, I think most people would say he's a little been more humbled by some of his life experiences that he's been through, things that he's put himself through. But also, you know, physically, he's had a lot of issues. I mean, it's remarkable. One, that you win the Masters at 43. He's the second oldest player to win the Masters after Jack Nicklaus at 46. But he had such physical problems that Nick Faldo, Masters champion, the CBS golf analyst, told the story on the air Sunday. He said they had their Champions Dinner that they have on Tuesday, Masters Week. He told 2 years ago, Tiger told him, "I'm done." He was having this back fusion surgery just in hopes of having a normal life again, not play golf at a highly competitive level again. So I mean, it's one of the more remarkable comeback stories of all time. Now, you know, Sam King, my old sports editor, said Ben Hogan's story tops that. You know, Ben Hogan and his wife were in a car crash. They were hit by a bus, and he was never able to play more than 18 holes a day again after that, and had a lot of trouble with his legs. But he came back and completed the career Grand Slam. So that was probably more impressive. But what Tiger did was remarkable to win his 15th major, and you have to say, improbably, he has a legitimate shot now to beat Jack Nicklaus' record of 18 major championships.
Oh, no doubt. Now, where were you, like, for the final holes? Are you in the press center at that point, or do you get to go on out and be?
I went out early in the day, just a little bit, and then I was in for a while, and then I went out because, like I said, they were going off 1 and 10. Bubba Watson, whose caddy is Ted Scott, a great guy, who would be a great guest for you one day, by the way. Just saying. He's from Lafayette. So he came in at the same time as Patrick Reed came in. So Patrick was the defending champion.
And of course you know Patrick and know him from when
sure.
he was in high school.
When he was in high school here, he went to St. Aloysius, where my kids went to school, and we went to University High, and of course he put the green jacket on Tiger, who was his boyhood idol, like a lot of guys on the tour. So that had to be extra cool for Patrick in that regard. So then I went back in and watched them play the last 4 or 5 holes, because things are happening on so many different holes. You kind of have to watch it from there. And then they brought
multiple monitors.
Yeah, and then they brought Tiger to the press building for the champions interview, which was packed, as you can imagine.
A lot of, I've never been, so like, is it a throng of media, like more than you would imagine, who cover this event, or?
Well, no, the main press arena, they call it, where we sit, which is it's a big kind of amphitheater-like thing. It seats 350, and then you have all the people for CBS. Then you have TV crews and Masters.com and photographers. It's hundreds and hundreds of people. Yeah.
Have you ever personally spoken to Tiger Woods and/or shaken his hand?
Not shaking his hand, but I've asked him a question. I can't remember chapter and verse, but yeah,
Okay.
I've been
Did
there.
he give you the look?
Been here in his presence. I've been close enough to touch the hem of his garment, but people were just gaga over the guy winning. You knew it would be. You knew always if you could come back and win another major, particularly the Masters, the most popular player in golf, winning the most popular tournament in golf, that it would be just an amazing event. And for a lot of, for me, still, seeing Jack Nicklaus win his 6th at 46, when everyone said he was done, was the moment. But for a lot of younger people, their teens and 20s and 30s, this is going to be that golf moment, and understandably so. It was really remarkable. One last thing, his most dramatic win before this was in 2005 when he chipped the ball in on 16 and it fell in the cup.
Yeah.
He didn't have to do anything like that. Everyone else kind of imploded around him. He just used his experience in winning major championships and his knowledge of that course, which they're virtually boundless compared to everybody else, and just played a smart, steady round while everyone else made mistakes and handed him the green jacket.
Well, I have questions about him for you while you're there, like in person and when you're near him, and there's mostly with media, but sometimes you're around the fans. Does he have an electric kind of charisma, or is it as a person, or is it just because when he's out there he's such a dynamic golfer and he's so fit and he's a handsome guy and he looks like bigger and stronger? You'd take him in a pickup game in most sports before he had back surgery.
Yeah.
That's the first thing.
More so on the course. In interviews, he's a little more mellow and subdued, but kind of funny. He could be kind of self-deprecating and in an engaging sort of way. And like I said, I think he's gotten more so over the years. I think he really appreciates this second life his career has gotten.
I think I have the numbers right. When he won his first major, Nike gave him something like $38 million. Mm-hmm. And at the time, it seemed like, wow, this is crazy, but they probably underpaid grossly and got more for their money than you could imagine because of what he did just on the clothing lines, for them. But it's also interesting because he's half black, he's half Thai, and he crosses racial and social lines. I mean, you had, predominantly white upper crust crowd at the Masters rooting for him, a black guy, which you wouldn't necessarily have outside of sports. And I'm not going all Jackie Robinson on you or anything, but there's an immense social and cultural aspect to this that I feel. Oh,
no question. I think he did a lot to bring to make golf more multicultural. I mean, it's still a pretty lily white sport, and most of the fans at the Masters are Caucasian people, Right. But I mean, everyone pulls for the guy. I think there was no one else for whom a win would have been more popular. I think second would have been like Ricky Fowler, who's very popular with the young kids, and he's charismatic, and that would have been good for golf too. But this is good for golf. I'm not a huge Tiger Woods fan. I think he's forgiven an awful lot, in his life, for a lot of the things he's done, and he's been standoffish with the media. And as I wrote in Tuesday's Advocate, I really wish he would come play the Zurich Classic in New Orleans and play in Hartford and Hawaii, so some of these places where he's never played. I think he owes it to golf.
He certainly ought to owe it to Hawaii.
You would think, but but you can't deny he's a remarkable talent. It's a remarkable story, and it's really good for golf. And you know what? Yes, would the Wall Street Journal have plastered another Masters winner in full color on the front of their paper on Monday? I doubt it. I doubt it. Big photo that dominated the page. It's Tiger Woods.
He's Scott Rabalais. He plays golf, likes golf, writes about golf, and he also likes LSU basketball, and that's what we'll talk about next. I played golf twice, as you know, and I did cover the New Orleans PGA tournament once when it was called the USF&G. I went outside, found out I was allergic to whatever grass is on that course. It was English turn at the time, I think. Mm-hmm. And so I just went inside and drank beer and ate shrimp salad all day till the golfers came in. It's Sports 225, and we'll be right back.
Hi, I'm the human dislike button. You may recognize me as the rules guy for Breck Parks. Sometimes the rules slip past us, so I put together this amazing presentation. Did you know? Golf practice is only allowed at designated golf facilities. Firearms, explosives, and weapons are not allowed on Breck property. Metal detecting is allowed in some parks, but go to Breck's website to learn more about this and other park rules. For more information, visit breck.org/HDB.
We're back on Sports 225. I'm Lee Feinswag. You can follow me at Lee Feinswag on Twitter. More importantly, you can follow Scott Rabalais at RabalaiSADV on Twitter. And you're not the hugest Twitter poster, but you're a big Twitter reposter of other people's things, and that's why I follow you. I feel like more things.
I feel like sometimes I post too much on the Masters. I do change my little circle picture. Is that the avatar? I guess.
Oh, I saw that to something.
It was a golf ball with the Masters logo on it right now.
Before that, you had something weirder than that on there.
One time I had this place for rent. I found like a little logo for that. I'm going to go back to NCAA. I got to go back to NCAA logo for this because it's
gymnastics.
NCAA gymnastics this weekend in Fort Worth. So.
There you go. Fort Worth. Is it at TCU itself or is it?
No, at the convention center.
You've been to TCU, the campus?
Oh yes.
That is one beautiful place.
Oh, it is.
Oh man, that's a pretty campus.
So is SMU.
So when you were driving back from Augusta, Georgia to Atlanta, Georgia this past Sunday night, thinking about probably everything under the sun but LSU basketball, you get the call that LSU has reinstated Will Wade. I was actually watching television and I had my iPad there and I was like, I'm going to check my email. I hadn't in a little while just to see. And there were two emails from Michael Bonnet, the sports information director at LSU. One was a statement from Joe Oliva and another was a statement from Will Wade. And I just read them and and then I just closed my iPad and went back to watching whatever movie because my mind was blowing. What did you think? I mean, I know you had to collect your thoughts to write something, but what did you think?
Well, I've been thinking about it. I was going to try to pre-write something, get some thoughts done once I got to my hotel. So I was thinking about it a little bit. What did I think?
You're a sick man.
I've felt very, very much, caught in the middle with this story. Because I'm with seeing some national media people, Dan Wetzel from Yahoo Sports and Mark Schlabach from ESPN. I saw them at the Masters, and a lot of people are like, they got to fire him now. Like Dick Vitale. Well, you do have to hear all the information and all the facts come in. I'm not saying those guys are saying that, but I've heard it from a lot of people. Yeah. And then you got the LSU fans who are like, fire Oliva, this is terrible, and what they did, and they suspended him, and they shouldn't have, and Oliva sucks, and F. King Alexander needs to go too, and I'm like, I don't think they did anything but the reasonable, prudent thing to suspend him. I have a boss. Most of us have bosses. You work for yourself, but I mean,
if I call myself in, I'm coming to the meeting.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, they had grounds by the letter of his contract to fire him for
insubordination.
For insubordination, yeah. Exactly. So I think he got bad legal advice, and as Lee, as you and I, if we learn nothing else in journalism, is that when people don't talk, it usually means what?
Mm-hmm. If you have nothing to hide, don't hide anything. How's that? Is that the east way?
Pretty much.
You can use that for whatever. You want to use that in today's politics. You want to use that in today's sports world.
Exactly. Reinstating him, but more to the fact of would they or wouldn't they? We were hearing more and more in the days leading up to the meeting on last Friday that it was more likely he was going to come back. I continue to wonder if he and Joe Oliva can coexist long term, but they are back now. And Joe admonished him in the statement, which was unusual. It was like,
and he had a lot of vague things in there. Like he was real careful not to fully embrace him, not to fully exonerate him.
Because this is the thing. Look, I think this is I'm trying to be as concise as possible. LSU's NCAA compliance has a history of being very tight about things.
Yep.
That they let Javonte Smart return to play in the postseason was significant. Is that they don't feel like they clearly don't feel like there's anything that he did wrong, or that certainly can be proven at this point. And I think that led them into, okay, Will denies all these things, and he's got reasons for this and that, and there certainly seems like there's some shenanigans going on, but they get to the point where they feel like they can trust him to come back. Now they're putting themselves out there. If more wiretaps, more evidence of any damning kind come to light, but for now they're going with the guy who obviously is a great coach and has done a great job building a program, and I don't like to say to exonerate anything that he might have done, but there's a lot of stuff in the shadows in college basketball. Will Wade is not the disease, but the symptom of it.
Oh, and there's plenty of people who are nervous in college basketball right now. And of course, all of this looms large next week, whether he still has to testify before the federal grand jury in that other trial. Anyway, Scott Rabalais here. We got time for one short segment left. We'll get right back to LSU basketball. I'm Lee Feinswag at Sports 225.
Breck Parks close at dark.
You want another?
I think they'll pass. Amplified music and sound is prohibited without permission from Breck. No alcoholic beverages on Breck property. Smoking of tobacco products is not allowed. Use of fire is prohibited except in grills. Gotta remember, Breck wants you to have fun, but in the right way. For more info, go to breck.org/HDB.
Coming down the home stretch of another Sports 225, go to sports225.com for all the show listings on CST and Your View, and to see archived old shows on our Sports 225 TV YouTube channel, where you not only can see Scott Rabalais from today, but from many other times past. You could have a Scott Rabalais watching YouTube-a-thon.
Oh yes, like seeing two of my columns on the front of the sports section yesterday.
Yeah.
That put people off their oatmeal, don't you think?
That was something. But the funniest tweet was the first person to break the Will Wade thing on Twitter that I saw was our old friend David Ching, who doesn't live in Baton Rouge anymore, and he said, "My condolences to my Louisiana sports writing friends who wanted to watch Game of Thrones," and because that was debuting Sunday night.
House of Wade survives.
House of Wade. Let me ask you this: could you make the argument that Will Wade screwed his team over by simply not doing what he ended up doing 37 days later, which was go in right at the time and say, "Look, I'm innocent. I don't know what's going to happen. My lawyer says not to talk to you, but here we go. Let's get back to business." And then LSU reinstates him, and they have him for the stretch run, and who knows? I mean, would LSU have gone farther than the round of 16? Could LSU have beaten Michigan State with him? Yeah, I don't think so, but you never know.
You certainly could say that it's possible. I think it would have been a closer game probably if he's coaching, as Tony Benford, the interim coach, who did a good job, says, you're just not getting the calls sometimes when you're the interim coach, or the head coach is going to get, or you're going to get like the technical that he got in the Florida game in the SEC tournament. So I don't think the way Michigan State played, the LSU was going to beat them no matter who was coaching. And then both Michigan State and Duke played at an awfully high, stayed for the regional final, played at an awfully high level. But it's possible, and now they're betting that he can lead them to more deep runs in the NCAA tournament in the future. A lot remains to be seen, though. A lot remains to be seen.
You will opine about it further, and you can read such things at theadvocate.com. Follow him on Twitter at RabalaiSADV. Thank you for making time on this busy week. After what happened with Tiger and then LSU, you simply had to come in, and I appreciate that you did.
I'm flattered that you asked me. It's always a fun, fast-paced half hour with.
There you go, and you're off to Fort Worth for LSU gymnastics. So read his stuff, watch this show. Thank you for watching the show. Good night. This has been Sports 235.
At carnival time by Baton Rouge Bay, that's the site of my story. At Spanish Town Mardi Gras, things can get blurry. See the mowers marching, prizes fill the sky. This Spanish Town Mardi Gras, may it never die.